One and only Hasan Piker was detained by Chicago or CBP, Chicago Border Police. What is CBP? Either way, Hasan Piker was detained at O'Hare Airport, which is super brutal. Coming back from Paris, right? Paris to Chicago. I don't know why he was landing in Chicago. I guess it was probably a connecting flight or whatever. But let me pull this up here so it can actually be read. Hasan Piker, an online streamer and political commentator, was detained for several hours. Oh, Customs and Border Protection. I'm an idiot. Officers over the weekend asking leading questions about what he thought of President Donald Trump and Hezbollah, among other topics. Piker discussed the surprise detention in a Monday afternoon stream on Twitch, telling his nearly 3 million followers he was questioned at O'Hare International Airport in Chicago after a returning trip from France. You know what's crazy? This popped up, and like literally I was like, oh shit, like that's crazy. And I immediately went to Twitch, and the second I went to Twitch, he went live. It was crazy. It was weird. It was weird. I don't know his streaming schedule, but they tried to straight up get something out of me. I think they could use to basically detain me permanently. He kept asking over and over again, Hamas, and all this shit, trying to be like, oh, do you support them? Do you like them? Like, what dumb questions, bro? It's not that hard to figure out his stand. Like, it's really not that hard to figure it out. Piker conceded that he probably yapped away more than was in his own interest because he was hoping to cut the detention short, and also because he wanted to see what sort of information they were looking for. Instead of just pleading the fifth, as I'm supposed to do in situations like this, I just kept giving him answers, knowing full well what they exactly were looking for. I saw no reason to hold back on certain things. I said, I don't like Trump. What are you going to do? It's protected by the First Amendment. Yeah, I mean, yeah, what the man, that's crazy. You know what's weird is, like, I didn't know who he was, or I knew who he was, but how he got super big. And then this photo of him, like, when he was younger, I remember seeing him pop up in, like, YouTube videos from years ago. It's wild. On what to do if a border agent asks for your phone. What? Does Border Patrol have the right to go through your phone? Here are the alarming facts. You should consider these tech risks before you travel to the U.S. What if you live in the U.S., man? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Entering the U.S. as a traveler feels riskier than ever following Donald Trump's executive order for enhanced vetting and security screenings. U.S. borders are officials are empowered to use aggressive tactics at port of entry like airports. In recent days, there have been alarming cases of legal immigrants and tourists who are being denied entry and detained in custody of U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. In one recent high-profile case, a French student was traveling to Houston on his way to a conference, was allegedly denied entry by Customs and Border Patrol over phone messages that criticized Trump's science policies, which is pretty wild. Like, don't get me wrong, everything is pretty fucked up that he says, but to criticize Trump's science policies, that's pretty mild. Have a plan before you travel because you don't want to be in a situation where you're, like, running late for a flight and you find yourself in a secondary screening. No matter if you're a U.S. citizen, visa holder, foreign visitor traveling to Las Vegas on spring break, yes, they can search your phone. The U.S. government asserts that it has the ability to lawfully inspect phones, laptops, and other types of electronic devices that cross U.S. borders. Wow. Customs and Border Protection says searches of electronic devices are rare. In 2024, the federal agency reported that 42,000 basic searches and 4,300 advanced searches on predominantly people who are not U.S. citizens. Under a basic search, a border agent physically inspects your phone and reviews what they can, while an advanced search means the agent could potentially download all of your files using an external device. Yikes. Yowza, bro. All right, back to Hasan, though. The reason they're doing this, I think, is to create an environment of fear. Duh. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but to get people like myself, or at least others that would be in my shoes, that don't have the same level of security, to shut the fuck up. Yeah, guaranteed. I mean, there's times where, like, talking about it or commenting about it on public platforms like YouTube is terrifying. That's a real thing. And somebody that, like Hasan, who's got a platform, who can do it, I don't want to say gets away with it, but can do it a little bit easier and has the platform to kind of speak out about it. But smaller content creators and that sort of thing really kind of lay the groundwork, or, you know, kind of lay the ground for, like, the most important things that happen, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's good that we have high-profile commentators on topics, but usually smaller ones are the ones who do the most important work. Our officers are following the law, not agendas. Sure about that? Said in an emailed statement, upon entering the country, the individual was referred for further inspection, a routine lawful process that occurs daily and can apply for any traveler. Once his inspection was complete, he was promptly released. So why, if it's something that can happen to any traveler, why would they be asking him specific questions about the things he just so happens to talk about? While Piker may be the highest profile person detained by CBP on their return to the United States, he's far from the only one. Amir Makhled, a lawyer representing pro-Palestinian student protester, was detained at the Detroit Metro Airport on his way back from a spring break trip abroad with his family. Told the HuffPost at the time that the federal agents did seize his phone, though he stood his ground amid the 90-minute detention, and he argued that as a lawyer, his phone contained privileged work information. Man, they got balls, dude, to search a lawyer. I mean, the set of balls you gotta have. My gut tells me they were trying to see who I was associating with, but there's no real way to tell. Let's see if the Guardian says anything different. Hasan Piker, U.S. progressive political commentator, said he was stopped by recounting the incident. The goal is to put fear in people's hearts, to have a chilling effect on speech that, like the government, is unafraid of intimidating you. It works. Piker said, does this stop me from saying whatever the fuck I want to say? Of course not. Don't be ridiculous, but the reason I want to talk about it is to give you more insight on what the government is doing, and to speak out against that sort of stuff. Thank you, Hasan. The left-wing streamer has built a mass following on YouTube and Twitch around his blend of political, cultural, and social. Piker, born in New Jersey, was carrying a U.S. passport when he re-entered the U.S. on Sunday after a trip to France with his family to celebrate Mother's Day. I think they did because they know who the fuck I am, and they wanted to put the fear of God in me. Yeah. This is nothing but lying for likes. The Department of Homeland Security said in a statement, claims that his political beliefs triggered the inspection are baseless. Our offices are following the law, not agendas. So why would they ask him the specific questions about his beliefs? Doesn't make any sense. Upon entering the country, the individual was referred for further inspection, a routine lawful process that occurs daily. The thing about that is, like, they don't do a quick, like, Google search before, like, in the minutes that it's happening, right? Like, we flagged this person. Okay, like, I would think the first thing that would happen would be, like, a Google search. Like, you know, odds are you're probably not going to get anything, right? But the 1% of times that it's somebody that has a platform, right, that information would be helpful. As Piker repeatedly described the exchange as cordial, but he said he was transparent with the officer interviewing them. He planned to speak out about his experience, which the streamer said felt anything but random and routine. Assuming the officers were familiar with his online commentary, Piker said he was candid about his views, telling the agent he was not fond of the U.S. president. He said the officer was particularly focused on the criticism of Israel's prosecution of the Gaza war, asking him, do you like Hamas? Like, do you support Hamas? Do you think Hamas is a resistance group? Oh, God. And again, I just kept repeating that over and over again, describing the line of questioning as insane. Yeah, bro, this is wild. Piker said this was his first attempt to return to the U.S. using the Global Entry Program, which normally expedites travel. He was returning to the U.S. to speak on Monday. Oh, he was here. Oh. Damn, I wonder if that was an open thing. Chip Gibbons, the policy director of Defending Rights and Dissent, said in a statement, "We are deeply disturbed that the CBP is stopping political commentators at the border to interrogate them about First Amendment protected activities. Such an abuse of power is an affront to press freedom." Agreed. Alex Peter, an attorney and popular online creator who shares content about the American judicial system, wrote, "DHS flagging and detaining one of the U.S. largest left-wing voices for their political opinions while Trump admin suggests that they might suspend habeas corpus does not portend well for the future." Triple agree. Triple dipple agree. Oh, what the... This picture that they use is funny. In a statement to the Cut spokesperson, U.S. Customs and Border Protection confirmed Piker was detained, but denied that it was owing to his views, claiming his political belief triggered the inspection are baseless. Our officers are following the law, not agendas. Yeah, we heard that in the last one. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's pretty bogus. Like, that to suggest that he wasn't detained for that reason, and then to ask him to ask a random person about their thoughts on Hamas, specifically Hamas, not with the amount of stuff that's going on in the United States right now, right? And as powerful or as powerful as a topic Israel and Palestine is, right? If CBP is interested in the protection of America and Americans, what does Hamas have to do with that, right? Like, I mean, obviously, the idea that somebody might want to cause harm to somebody in the United States or whatever, but like, I would assume that they would be asking them questions that are much more specific to the United States and the beliefs of the policy of the United States as opposed to Hamas. Well, obviously the U.S. is involved in that. Like, to of all the things, be like, hey, yeah, man, what do you think about Hamas? Yeah, that's bullshit, man. It's total utter bullshit. That's what I'm saying.